Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos. My name is John Fahey. I am joined by the damn prettiest man I know. His name is...
My name is Aaron Peter, and I am a pretty man. And I am a man.
God bless you. You're good looking, huh?
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. You know how much I need to hear it.
Yeah. Matt always starts laughing at the beginning because I'm getting loud.
Well, we're going to compliment him in a second.
Matt is indisputably gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
You really knocked it out of the park with that Satchel Paige episode.
Thank you.
Hey, good. That's knocked
really
it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was a perfect game of a podcast.
Yes. And I truly loved. I was looking for episode titles, and that Second Class Immortal quote.
Oh,
is
you
so
wrote that?
Good. I did.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
That fit.
It's
great.
I mean, I would be very surprised if there was not a biography entitled Second Class Immortal.
Yeah.
It's too
Maybe
good.
it's one of his 5 autobiographies.
Yeah. They say I'm a second class immortal. That's how he talks.
Or maybe they don't.
Yeah. Guys, before we start, I really want to heavily plug March 31st. We're doing the Hollywood Hotel, Profiles in Eccentricity live. The program is coming to the people. If you are a listener in Los Angeles, please join us. If you're an Unpops fan, please come and hang out with the fam. The whole crew's going to be there. Mm-hmm. And try it out.
Yeah. Do not piss on us. Do not beat us.
No.
But do indeed try it out.
Yes, and we'll try to send out a pretty wild profile.
Oh yeah,
for that episode.
We'll do something real nice for you.
Something
for those who show
salacious.
up. Oof.
You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Yeah, I got some weird shit lined up. Thank you guys all for all the feedback on the program. Honestly, I love that. There's so many people listening to the show for different reasons. People will tell me, they're like, I just like the weird genius stuff, and some people are like, I only like the pervert shit. And but we're gonna keep doing eccentric people of all stripes. We love it all, and we're gonna keep just trying to bring you the weirdest shit we can find because it's never ending.
There's no shortage of eccentricity.
No, at the beginning of the show, I was very worried that I would run out pretty quickly because I had a couple saved up for years and years. And now that people, are listening, they just keep throwing me more stuff my way. And I am very thankful. People are really sending me fascinating, epic stories.
Mm-hmm. Our cup runneth over.
It does. One of the things I really love that really sets my imagination off is I absolutely adore the poignancy and a lot of times the hilarity of last words.
Ooh, yes.
I guess I got a very dark sense of humor, but also I just think it's we all die and we have this last final thing to say, and sometimes it's so desperate and sad, and sometimes it's very beautiful and loving. Sometimes it's absolutely hysterical, and somehow dying immediately after saying something makes something way funnier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's the ultimate punchline.
The ultimate punchline. Yeah. So I want to wade into some of that.
Oh, sure.
I have so many. John Brown, the abolitionist.
Yes.
He was being taken to his hanging, riding on his coffin.
He was just riding on it?
Yeah, like on a wagon.
Like, yeehaw?
Yeah.
They already built the coffin.
And this is like, because I'm such a grateful person. Like, I love a cool breeze. That when anybody exhibits that in their final moments, it really takes my breath away. And he's sitting on his coffin to be filled by him very shortly. Mm-hmm. And, he's surrounded by people that aren't big fans of him. And he's looking around on his way to the gallows, and he says, and think about this in light of everything he's done. He says, this is a beautiful country. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Completely incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it shows so much gratitude, and when you look back on how right he was about everything, and he's still just like, he still kind of believes.
In the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's completely amazing. The guy Leon Solgotz that shot President Garfield, he was just, I love this too. I love it when people are stubborn, unrepentant fucking shitheads. Mm-hmm. I absolutely adore that.
Why did he shoot Garfield?
Well, I'm going to tell you. It says it's right here in his last words.
Oh.
I killed the president because he was the enemy of the good people, the good working people. I am not sorry for my crime.
That's a good last statement.
Yeah.
Cleared that right up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it'd be a lot less poignant if he was like, I fucked up. You fucking motherfucker. I'm sorry. I'll suck your cocks. All you guys.
Suck our cocks.
His last word was.
So, should we background?
Yeah, let's give the family a little background, John.
So there's a great episode of The Sopranos where the New York crews are infighting, and there's a loan shark that's one of the few tough women in the show, Lorraine Caluso, and she's kicking up to the wrong boss as far as Phil Leotardo is concerned, who's played by the guy that's Go Get Your Fucking Shine Box from Goodfellas. Mm-hmm. He's amazing. He's in Good Casino. He's incredible. But he comes in with a bunch of heavies, and while she's collecting money from a bar, and he's like tape her to the chair, right? And she's like, no. She's like, I'll suck your cocks, all you guys. And Phil goes, suck our cocks,
incredulously.
And she goes, yeah.
and they've got her bodyguard / paramour on the ground underneath a boot. There's a boot on his face.
Yeah, somebody's got their foot right on his face.
And Phil goes, she any good?
And then he goes, what am I asking you for? You probably showed her how.
But for the mobsters, those last words were really serious. Sonny the Bull Gravano, in his book, he talks about like one of these guys. He didn't respect them that much until they were taking him out to kill him, and he didn't say a fucking word the entire time. And he's like, "This guy, I get it.
Oh
this guy,
yeah,
a lot of respect for this
shame
guy.
I have to kill you."
Yeah. It's and you know, a lot of times in those last moments, you're like, I think a lot of times when you're about to execute somebody, like you're like, fuck, man, I wish I didn't have to do this.
Yeah. You say you're all right.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it easy.
Well, True Romance.
Yeah, I mean one
the Dennis Hopper scene.
Yes. One of the guys from the 1916 Irish Rebellion was he was too sick for gangrene from wounds and shit from the rebellion to stand for his execution, so he was seated in a chair. And he was the leader of the Citizens Army, which were not part of the IRA. He was part of this kind of Republican socialist breakaway that we'll get into later, because that was always a part of Irish Rebellion. There was always kind of like a weird Marxist faction. And when the rifles were pointed at him, he was just like, just keep your rifles steady, boys. Like he just had all this empathy for these guys that were
didn't want to do what they were going to do, probably.
Well, I mean, it's fucking obviously ugly fucking business.
Well, that's why they put, they load them, half of them with blanks.
Right.
Yeah, so you don't know who did it, right. Yeah. Buffalo Bill, famous buffalo hunter, U.S. Army.
That person?
No. U.S. Army scout, Indian fighter, Wild West hero.
Please, Native American is the proper
He was,
nomenclature.
Yeah. He was killed, I think he was shot in the back at a card game. And his last words were, probably after some fight, he's like, well, let's forget about it and play high five. I wish Johnny would come. Who the fuck is Johnny?
Was he delirious?
Yeah,
Did he lose a lot of blood?
Is that the dead man's hand?
I think it's aces and eights. Yeah. God.
Then, the Barrymore family, John Barrymore.
Yeah, drinkers.
Famous actor. He says to his friend, his journalist friend, Gene Fowler, tell me, Gene, is it true you're the illegitimate son of Buffalo Bill?
Those were his last words?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you this.
Please answer quickly.
Also, this is according to Gene Fowler.
Yes, of course.
So he was like, maybe just building up his own rep a little bit.
Yeah, or like his friends whose last words were like, I gotta take a shit.
Yeah.
My friend, I was alone with him on his deathbed, and he asked me, Aaron, is it true you've got the biggest, most beautiful cock in the world?
Yeah! Suck our cocks. Francis Two Gun Crowley, the bank robber in the 30s, he This is great. He said, "You sons of bitches. Give my love to mother." That's just...
Did they?
I don't know. I mean...
Well, they were sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not, huh?
That's tough, because you to expect your killers to
Give love to mother.
to write a letter for you.
Doc Holliday. He was an occasional dentist, I found out.
That's where the name Doc came from.
I didn't know that. So he was dying in bed, and somebody took his boots off, and he said, "Damn it, put them back on." And then he goes, "This is funny."
Okay, it's fun.
This is funny.
This is funny. That is funny.
One of the guys that plays a New York guy in The Sopranos is he plays Johnny Torrio in Boardwalk Empire. So you get to find out a lot about Johnny Torrio in Boardwalk, which is great because he was the big deal guy before Capone, and he really brought Capone up. He brought Capone to Chicago from Brooklyn and everything else, and they kind of think Capone might have killed him, but Capone was also very loyal to him, so it's still disputed to this day. His last words were bullets tipped with garlic. What? That's the whoppiest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Maybe it's like a killing vampires thing.
Or Quest.
Bullets tipped with garlic.
1978, this this is so fucked up. This flight hits like a recreational shithead plane.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Aviation term.
Some jackass gets in the way of a jumbo jet, and he goes, "It's over San Diego," and he's saying, "It's bad. We are hit. Man, we are hit. Tower, we're going down. This is PSA. This is it, baby. Mama, I love you."
Oh, no.
Damn.
I'm sure he didn't say it just like that, but maybe
"This is it, baby."
yeah, baby. I mean, I guess if you're going out, that's like Dr. Strangelove. He's like,
Yeah.
And it was San Diego, too. So
yeah. He's a total bro.
It, baby.
Yeah. Malcolm X, shot by 3 rival Muslims who were attending one of his meetings in Harlem.
Or CIA agents.
Right.
Both and.
His last words were, "Let's cool it, brothers."
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. King can relate to that.
And he was, he was shot the fuck up at this stage, It's like
shotguns.
Those words, after, a shit ton of wounds are even stronger to me. In the Manson killings, I think Abigail Folger made it out on the lawn, and all of them were stabbed 70-something times and shit like that. And she said to one of the girls stabbing her, she said, "You can stop now. I'm already dead."
Holy shit.
Yeah. We get it.
Yeah.
You're the Manson family. Hi.
Give me a second to collect myself.
Right.
Can I die now?
Because I'm alive. Every time you stab me, I live a little bit more.
Yeah, this is more for you than it is for me.
It's kind of tacky at this point.
This is a little overkill.
Yeah. This is when Michael Collins signed the Treaty of Peace with the Brits, which partitioned Ireland into the North and South, and gave them status as a free state and not a republic. He knew that the rest of the IRA would split over it, and he said at the signing that he died very shortly thereafter in an ambush. He said, "I am signing my death warrant." Benedict Arnold, the former American patriot who turned traitor for the Brits, shot for treason in 1801. This blew my mind. He said, "Let me die in the old uniform in which I fought my battles for freedom. May God forgive me for putting on any other." That's fucking heavy as fuck.
Yeah, you can't purport to understand somebody's motives for doing stuff like that. Because the bad guy never thinks that they're the bad guy.
Yeah, and then when you face your comeuppance and you look back and you realize what were the glory days,
right?
And when was I at my best?
And shit, did I make the wrong decision?
Yeah. And for Arnold, he does what he does kind of for him, for his wife, but the British don't accept him,
right?
And
yeah,
because he's a traitor.
Yeah, it's every
Yeah.
he makes the move that he thinks is best for him, and neither side is happy with him. So
Yeah. Well, it's like that thing of and this is in like a lot of the terrorist counterterrorism stuff and the anti-mafia stuff. And they'll sit you down and they'll be like, listen, you're caught, dude, and you can never go back there. They're never going to trust you again. We've had you in this interrogation room for days. They're just going to fucking execute you, and you can live a good life, and you can do the right thing, and you can have all this morality, and you can be proud of stopping murderers. As soon as they leave the room, they call you the snitch. Mm-hmm. They have no respect for you whatsoever.
And then they talk to another guy, and they tell them everything you fucking said.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Completely preposterous.
Life hack: don't get caught.
1896, Cherokee Bill, famous outlaw. He was going to the noose, and they said, "Do you have any last words?" And he said, "No, I came here to die, not make a speech."
Yeah, people's worst fear is public speaking.
Yeah.
Then death. Let me die already.
Albert Fish, famous child molester and murderer and cannibal. Probably the most devastating to find out about human being, I would say, ever. If you could discover a single story that would
really
truly horrify you to the bone, he wrote letters to the parents and stuff.
Yeah, along kind of like a
taunting and he had children of his own.
Oh,
yeah, and he would have them like kick him in the balls and stuff.
His own kids.
His own kids, yeah, and
man, lucky.
And he would start shoving a whole bunch of like metal pins in his grundle and stuff.
Oh yeah. You mentioned this before, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
This is the kind of thing we talk about off.
Yeah.
Off mic.
Off the air, we get really deep into the BME Pain Olympics type of stuff. But let the audience in on what you mean by shoving things into his grundle.
Well, I mean, if you took like a metal pin that you might sew together a kerchief with.
Mm-hmm. Like a knitting needle?
Yeah. Well, not a fucking knitting needle. I mean, Jesus Christ in heaven.
A sewing
needle.
Okay, big difference.
Well, there is a big difference.
If it's going in your taint, not really.
No, dude, you can't get a fucking knitting needle in your taint.
Maybe you, bro. I got a big-ass taint.
He was electrocuted in 1936. Mm-hmm. He butchered scores of youngsters. And he said, "What a thrill it would be to die in the electric chair. It will be the supreme thrill, the only one I haven't tried."
Jesus Christ.
It's like he's taking control of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think he was truly, gleefully looking forward to it on a very sexual level.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, Matt.
Yes.
The pins in his scrotum started shorting out the electric chair.
Oh my God.
Dude, I bet he nutted so hard.
God. Isn't that fucking bananas?
Try it out.
What the fuck is going on with this guy?
They were still in there.
Yes, tons.
The smuggler.
Yeah, he was half fucking metal, dude.
Oh man, he's like Wolverine of
Grundle.
Yeah.
Grundle-rine.
prostate.
Jesus Christ.
What are you doing, man?
Jesus Christ.
And
I mean, let's just take a minute to process.
He's spazzing out the chair, this guy. Can you imagine?
I feel like that's like the beginning.
Do you think he said sorry?
No, he's not that type of guy.
Did I break your chair? Isn't it like the beginning of how that movie Shocker starts? That Wes Craven movie.
Dude, we've never talked about Shocker. I love Shocker.
We've talked about it off air.
Have we?
Yeah.
I love Shocker.
Oh, it's great. Mitch Pileggi.
It's so fucking scary.
No, it's not.
No, the beginning premise is very scary because it's straight up like Richard Ramirez home invasion stuff.
Yeah,
he's a TV repairman, so he's supposed to be. It's fucking terrifying. My dad watched it with me one time, and he was like, "I was into this before the spirit girl came out of the lake." I was like, "Really?"
Hi, I'm TV repairman here to fix a cable.
But yeah, he thought, Wes Craven thought after Freddy Krueger, he was like, I'm going to make another franchise guy, and it's going to be this guy.
Nope.
No, but, I mean, I know a lot of people that love that movie.
Yeah, it could have been something, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that guy went on to be in the X-Files and did a great job.
And I don't think it's bad for us to repeat the last words of Carl Panzram.
Please, for posterity and for me.
On death row, of course, he's got the Society for the Abolition of Capital Punishment fighting for him not to die, and he writes them and says, "I do not believe that being hanged by the neck until dead is a barbaric or inhuman punishment. I look forward to that as a real pleasure and a big relief to me when my last hour comes." And a big relief to me. When my last hour comes, I will dance out of my dungeon and onto the scaffold with a smile on my face and happiness in my heart. The only thanks that you or your kind will ever get from me for your efforts is that I wish you all had one neck and I had my hands on it.
God, just that guy. Life was a prison for that guy.
Yes, but I think listen to the episode. I talk about it more, but the will to prove everyone wrong, and in a very Joker Dark Knight way to prove that you're all kind of fake and frauds, and that you're all evil and society is evil. And I've been molested and raped and tortured, and you're good Christian people and. So then he goes out and he's being ready to go up the stairs to the scaffold, and there's a audience on either side, and he spits on the left side and he spits on the right side, and he starts running up the stairs, and the guys holding him are trying to run to keep up with him, and then when they ask with the noose around his neck, "Do you have any final words?" he says, "Hurry up, you Hoosier bastard! I could hang a dozen men while you're fooling around."
That's my favorite.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, Carl.
I mean, all of those guys there, because they're part of the state-sponsored violence, they're like, oh, that guy's the evil one.
Yeah.
And he's just like, guys, we're all doing the same thing here.
Yeah. You're just getting paid.
Different. And then you other people came out to watch.
Yeah. Who's the sick one here?
Yeah. And you're going to go to church, after this?
Yeah. Give me a break. I was molested and beaten and raped as a child. What's your excuse?
And also, I believe in it.
Yeah.
I like sodomy.
I get it for free.
Yeah. There was a guy that attempted to kill FDR, and he instead accidentally killed the mayor of Chicago.
These things happen.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Chicago. Jesus Christ. Fuck. I feel like I got shot. And his last words were, "Goodbye, adios to the world."
And then he doffed his cap.
Yeah. See you later. You'd like this, Matt. Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Told his...
Who's that?
He's a baseball commissioner, virulent racist, banned the Black Sox for
the scandal.
Throwing the World
And
Series.
he was the guy who was like decrepitly old, and he was the commissioner who said that they couldn't let Satchel Paige in right before he died, and then the next commissioner came in.
Yep.
They let black players in.
He kept getting inquiries of his health. He told the nurse, "Tell him the judge is doing all right." He was a judge before, a baseball commissioner. This is another fucking thing that John Barrymore was attributed to, has said to somebody else.
A lot of people there.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to milk the Barrymore death. You know what I mean? He was attributed to have said during this while interviewed, while he's dying, he said, "Die? I should say not, dear fellow. No Barrymore would allow such a conventional thing to happen to him."
Dying is basic?
Yes, you bet. George Washington. He said, "Doctor, I die hard, but I am not afraid to go." Is that where fucking Die Hard came from?
Maybe. Die hard.
I die hard.
Churchill. He said, "I am ready to meet my maker. Whether my maker is prepared for the ordeal of meeting me is another matter." I'm a pain in the ass.
Get ready.
Humphrey Bogart said, "I should never have switched from scotch to martinis."
Jesus. Did he? And I think there's something about like being famous enough to have a good biographer at your bed right before you die. Hey, can you make sure you phrase this right?
Yeah.
Well, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to do in those days, and a lot of some of them would make fun of the process almost of, you've like lived this ego-filled life already, and now you want to make sure that you have this last witty thing to say to further your ego after you're dead when you shouldn't care.
Right. Because you're dead.
Yeah. How about hugging your kid?
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like, instead of like being like, you tell him I said I thought of this thing 6 months ago, but I'm dying now. Tell him I said this, you know. And a lot of them did that.
I've been holding on to this one. Sorry, honey. Daddy's got to die now.
Like, I mean, Ben Franklin at the age of 25
He already
composed an epitaph.
Of course he did.
He said, Ben Franklin, printer, it's like the cover of an old book, its contents torn out and stripped of its lettering and gilding, food for worms, but the work shall not be lost, for it will appear in a new and more elegant edition.
Yeah, and then he was like 75, and he's like, how about these French chicks?
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of bodies under my house.
W.C. Fields said, on the whole, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Very good. Jimmy Hoffa's last words on the phone to his wife were, hey, did Tony Giacolone call? Let's hope not.
Pure business all the way to the end.
Like, get out of there. You know? You don't want to be waiting for Tony Giacolone's call.
Nothing good is coming from that phone call.
You bet.
And then he was like, I'm going to be in Giants Field. See you there.
H.L. Mencken.
Who's that?
He's a famous American satirist and journalist. He said, stricken with paralysis, after I depart this veil, you remember me, and if after I depart this veil you remember me, and have some thought to please my ghost, forgive some sinner, and wink your eye at some homely girl.
Hell yeah. Suck our cocks.
Is that you've already practiced your last words?
My last words are going to be, I'll suck your cocks, all you guys. Yeah.
It's like only female doctors around you at the time.
I don't care. I don't discriminate.
That's very nice.
I'm dying. What do I care?
Oscar Wilde says he died in 1900, and he said it would be more than the English could stand with another century with me alive.
Hell yeah.
I've lived beyond my means.
Very nice.
And I'm dying beyond my means is another thing attributed. And he also was attributed to have said, either that wallpaper goes or I do.
Yes, that's the one I remember.
But it's again, tell him I said all this shit while dying, you know?
Right. And another thing.
Thomas Paine, radical political theorist of the revolutionary time.
Common sense.
His doctor says to him, your belly diminishes. And he says to the doctor, and yours augments.
Good with words.
And this is attributed to Napoleon's sister, Elisa. She somebody said to her, nothing is certain as death. And she said, except taxes.
Oh, really? So she's the...
Yeah. And then Pauline, Napoleon's favorite sister, said, I was always beautiful.
Pauline was such a bitch.
She was not attractive.
Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine them two in the room?
They're both dying.
There's nothing. The ugly one says the witty phrase.
Yeah.
And Pauline's like, I was always beautiful.
Franz Kafka said, there will be no proof that I ever was a writer. Incorrect.
Well,
plenty of proof.
He always questioned his own beliefs. He was very sickly for a lot of his life, and he was never he never promoted himself.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Very interesting, Matt.
Like the cockroach.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of an allegory about himself.
Oh fuck.
He did. Yeah. He was sickly, and he always viewed all these like kids that were strong as kind of like embarrassing him.
Right.
He wanted to be a writer, but it was not a physically positive thing.
Yes.
Metamorphosis.
Yes,
is what we're
that's
referencing.
the one. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
For the folks
I mean,
at
it makes
home.
you happy that he was kind of.
Yeah, I guess if you like bugs.
I mean, it didn't do any good for him, for his ego or confidence because he died.
No, certainly not.
No.
H.L. Mencken also allegedly said to a friend, remember me to my friends. Tell them I was a hell of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like 20 people walked through H.L. Mencken's room, and he had a different line for each of them.
You tell
well, yeah, I think that's the kind of thing with a lot of these guys is like, especially if they're adored in their time, all these people would want to get time with them. So you would go and you would see them. and you're fucking dying, so you're like, hell yeah, bring the crew in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and I feel like people they died for a long time.
Yes,
back then.
exactly,
Like,
yeah.
death was a prolonged process.
Oh yeah,
Because it could be anything.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and all they had to treat you was a sponge,
A sponge and heroin.
Which is a pretty good way to go.
sponge and smack. Try it out. One of the last things James Dean said before getting into the
Big turn.
the car that he died in the wreck. He said, "My fun days are over." And this is one attributed to Anonymous. In Hollywood, this is really gonna get our spirits up about making it.
So this is just a random person's dying last
Suicide, actually.
Oh yes, please.
I tried so hard to make a comeback. Exit Act 3. Very nice. This is another anonymous suicide note. Why suicide? Why not? Try it out. I really like this one because it does make fun of the whole last word process. This is Karl Marx was asked to provide his last words.
Is Karl Marx the social theorist Karl Marx?
Yeah, Communist Manifesto,
Yes,
Karl Marx.
Okay, not like one of the
That's
Marx
a random.
brothers. Well, you were just talking about Hollywood. I want to make sure that the folks at home who are as dumb as I am
Sure. No,
and
fair enough.
as smart as I am know which Marx you're talking
What did
about.
Chico say?
Yeah, we're talking about Karl Marx.
These last
Das Kapital.
last two are two of my favorites ever. Karl Marx, he said, do you have any last words? And he said, go on, get the hell out. Last words are for fools that haven't said enough.
That's great.
It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And maybe the most chilling and poignant, beautiful ones I've ever heard is this quote, "Does nobody understand?" And that was said by fart pervert James Joyce. And I don't get it, pal.
Well, he was talking about talking about farts.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
I could pick her out in a room full of farting women. What room? You fucking lunatic.
Do you not understand his love of farts?
I'm talking about you understand. No.
Usual suspects of flatulence.
I could pick her fart out in a room full of... What the fuck are you talking about, James?
My little fuck bird.
Jim, you sick fuck.
He is sick.
When you eat dinner together, you fart together. You know, it's the same smell.
Yeah, I mean, why was everybody always farting then?
They're still farting. We're just
Dude, but
we're
it's not,
embarrassed by it now.
coming out like when you're fucking in like a symphony of fart.
Well, you know, you're not a writer like James Joyce.
Yeah.
Yes, not yet.
He was a modernist. Maybe he thought that's the way sex was going.
Yeah.
He tried to be like
In the future.
Yeah.
It's all farts.
This is gonna catch on, believe you me.
Farts as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
Whole cities lit up with farts.
The number one search term will
Yeah.
be farts.
Well, I mean, yeah, and then they'll find this podcast in a time capsule and they'll be like, they didn't get farts back then. They were
Primitive.
dumb fucks. Aaron, do you have
Well,
some...
you know, I thought I was half expecting you to give me Bobby Fischer's last words.
Oh, which I did that in the episode.
Yeah.
He said nothing is as healing as the human touch. And I mean, it's kind of from the most alone autistic-y guy ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all of these phrases, they all say something that is kind of stereotypical about the person who's going.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about Joe Hill's last words, and he was like, "Well, maybe I should become a martyr," and it was ready, aim, and then he said fire. Like so, his last words were him making them make him a martyr.
Yeah.
And Bobby Fischer's last words were very evident that he needed
Of what he missed out on.
Yeah.
And there was, there's some very poignant stories about the random guy that was, his bodyguard during the chess thing, the big chess thing in
Cuba?
the World Championship in Iceland. And that's where he died in Iceland. So when he comes back, that guy's still a really good friend to him. He's just some random Icelandic guy, but they went through this fucking insane experience together, and he wouldn't show up for some matches. I mean, like, it's very, very high intensity. You've got fucking, what's his name on the phone? Kissinger being like, don't fuck up. And, and you're just some Icelandic guy that's a heavy. But you somehow become real friends with Bobby Fischer. Because once he's back there fucking up, like, an old crazy man and, hated by kind of most of the world.
The international community, yeah.
I mean, he has so many anti-Semitic quotes at the end of his life.
Yeah, he really went nuts.
Thought to be 100% Jewish.
Yeah.
But, this guy was just like, yeah, I know, but he's like my friend. I eat, like, we would hang out and eat burgers.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet,
Yeah.
His life just touches me so much.
Yeah.
It's tortured. It's really, really tortured.
Yeah.
And I, whenever I'm like driving around Hollywood and I'm like, on like fucking Pico or something, and I just see some guy, flailing around and like screaming to himself, I'm like, that is the worst place to end up.
Yeah.
Just like to be a prisoner of your own mind.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything worse than that. When I had a person very close to me that had schizophrenia, before they were hospitalized, but before they got their medication, they called me and told me about the enveloping conspiracy around them, and there was prophecies made about where they would be 2 years later that came true.
The voices that were telling them this.
Yes, I mean, this is like really, really off the wall stuff, and I just was listening to it, and they completely believe it, and it's like a fucking like a Born Identity level of like everybody's out to get me, and it's all real, and I'm the only one who knows, and it just scared the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah.
Terrifying. I think there's really no worse fate in the world than having a broken mind.
I don't know, man. Like, you ever stub your toe in a jacuzzi?
When you're trying to fuck.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, dude.
That sounds bad. That does some.
Yeah.
There's no cool narrative involved.
No.
The Born Identity is a pretty cool movie.
Right. Yeah.
That's how he lost his mind, because he stubbed his toe in a jacuzzi on that.
He had to invent a whole conspiracy behind it. I was trained. This is my destiny.
Yes, I'm glad you really ripped all the poignancy out of that story. Can I tell you one real quick?
Yeah.
This is another one that's, during the war, the big one, WW2.
Okay, thank you.
They call it the big one.
Uh-huh.
There was a lot of stuff about, Rommel would routinely disobey Hitler orders, because Hitler would be telling him to kill POWs and stuff. And he would be like, no, and he always treated his POWs great, and everybody said that. And, I don't know if, how much he was, like, aware of how bad the final solution and everything was going on. But he was a German patriot for sure. And he was, a great general. And then he was like, this is so dumb. He got in on the plot to kill Hitler, and he was at least talking about wiping out the ruling class of Germany in some kind of way. Not even necessarily through murder, but he was like, there does need to be some kind of coup. And he was brought in on with people, and he was found out eventually, of course. And they came to him, but Rommel was like the star of Nazi propaganda movies. I mean, he was really incredible, especially in Africa, the stuff he did militarily.
Desert Fox.
Yeah, Desert Fox, and he was...
he was Patton.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and he was, young, and he was, just,
German.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great World War I record too before that, and really something for all of Germany to aspire to. So once they found this out, they were like, we don't want to take you to our kangaroo courts where the prosecution always wins, because we don't want to have to take you away from Germany, basically. We don't want to, it'll sap morale. So they go to him and they tell him, we will not do anything against your family if you come with us and take a cyanide capsule. So he's got to go back inside and tell his wife and son, like, in 20 minutes, I'm going to be dead. And they're like, can we get some guns and shoot our way? And he's like, no, that ship has sailed.
But if you're him, you don't know that they're gonna live up to their word. They're fucking Nazis.
Well, it seems that apparently they did in some ways. They didn't really go after the family because they were all basically alive to tell the story of this thing. And he's about to leave the house. I mean, we're talking about a 10-minute interaction of I'm gonna go die right now. That's insane. I used to be the darling. I mean, you would think of this guy as the successor maybe to Hitler. And now there's all these, I mean, these are generals that came to his door, men of kind of equal stature to him. And they were, of course, more fierce, Hitler loyalists and had less sympathy for him turning against Hitler, which there's speculation on how much he really wanted to. And, if but at first he was like, no, really, I love Hitler and all that shit, And they were like, come on, dude, And he was like, all right.
You got me.
But he tells his son slowly, he's saying this slowly because he knows how insane this is to his son. He's saying
in this 10-minute,
this little interaction.
Do you know how old his son is at this point?
I think his son is like around the age of 17 here.
Oh, jeez.
He said, I've just had to tell your mother that I shall be dead in a quarter of an hour. And he said, to die by the hand of one's own people is hard. But the house is surrounded, and Hitler is charging me with treason. In view of my services in Africa, I am to have the chance to die by poisoning. This is like sarcasm. The two generals have brought it with them. It's fatal in 3 seconds. If I accept, none of the usual steps will be taken against my family. That is against you. They will also leave my staff alone.
He says that to his son. No steps will be taken against my family, a.k.a. you,
right,
son, if that wasn't clear.
And he's going, do you believe it? And he's like, yes, I believe it. It's very much in their interest to see that the affair does not come out, into the open. By the way, I have been charged to put you under a promise of the strictest silence. If a single word of this comes out, they will no longer feel themselves bound by the agreement. So you have to shut the fuck up. Part of the thing he requested was to not have any kind of insignia whatsoever at his funeral. But of course they covered his fucking coffin in swastikas.
Yeah.
So they didn't keep up that end of the agreement.
Right.
But they were...
he had some foresight.
They took him down the road, and then he saw that there was like a massive amount of SS people because they were ready for him to resist. And they just let him take the capsule in a car and die.
Jesus.
Can you imagine? 15 minutes? And on his way out, the dog's jumping on him and licking him, and he's like, just put the dog in the room.
Yeah. It's a big yikes.
Brutal.
Well, and then in the car ride, seeing the cavalry that they brought for you.
Yeah.
In a weird way, that might be like, hell yeah. That's what you need that. Take me down. But in another way, it's like, fuck, they would have just ruined me and my family.
Right, yeah. Well, he's living in, kind of high society, whatever. So it's like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
His wife's going to get shot up.
Right.
In a elite suburb.
Right.
What's the fucking point of doing that?
Right. It's no good for anybody.
Anybody, he says, he was saying, because other people were called in, and he was like, this is what's going on, I gotta leave. And the other people were like, can we fight? And he was like, no, it's too late for that, and plus we don't have enough ammunition. I thought about it.
We ran out of bullets. I counted them.
Yeah. He's the fucking desert fox. Of course, that's gonna be, a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that story is very beautiful.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
The last quote that I had, just kind of off the top of my head because I saw this recently, it's nowhere near as poignant, but it is cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's Marie Antoinette.
Really?
It's Marie Antoinette. So she's walking along, the gallows to the guillotine or whatever, the platform.
Going up the steps.
Steps. And she steps on her executioner's foot. And she says, pardon me, sir. I did not do it on purpose. And that kind of like, you kind of get the her famous words of "let them eat cake," right? It was actually "let them eat brioche," which is a type of but it's not cake. But she was young and just dumb, and naive, and she just didn't,
right.
I don't want to say innocent, but naive. She's about to go to her death, where they're going to cut off her head in front of people, and she steps on the guy's toe and goes, "Oh, my bad."
Yes.
She was born to marry a king.
Right.
She wasn't born to do anything else.
Right.
And so that's all she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something very interesting to me about, I wonder about old kind of governments of that time where it's very, monarchy style. If there was something kind of like, there's a British sitcom called Yes Minister. Right, and the idea is the prime minister comes out and says whatever he wants, but the old diehard lifelong government people just go and keep running the country anyway, but like they're fake indulging him. So it's saying
it sounds so familiar to what's going on now.
Right, which is the open disobeying of what's going on, because you have to.
Yeah,
you can't especially if you're the fucking Secretary of State or something that's just like. There's long-standing relationships between the Foreign Office in Britain, let's say, and the State Department in the U.S. Yeah. And if suddenly you get a new prime minister or a new president that wants to upend a bunch of that shit, you have a whole ton of people being like, "Huh? What the fuck? We've been working on this long before you."
Yeah.
So I always wonder if that was a thing back in the days of like Tutankhamun. He's a child.
Yeah.
Where there's some people saying like, yeah, I know. Or was it seriously like, do whatever this guy says or you're dead?
Right.
Well, or some combination of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a figurehead they can use to run, and he can still go out and make speeches, but they know how to run the government, so they're using him to further whatever they need to do.
Yes.
And they can use the idea of ancestry and the line.
Yes.
God-given right.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's using everybody there.
Yeah, I think so. I think some of it, I mean, like when you look back on some of it, though, they say, like, his reign was attributed to this change, so there is some kind of influence, of course. There's some things that happen because of them. But I just wonder how much there is people, like, patting those Marie Antoinette type, like, people on the head and being like, yeah, okay, Or if, like the other end of the spectrum is, Stalin.
Right.
When the Nazis got so close to Moscow, he got incredibly depressed and went into hiding. And, he had created such a reign of terror and mistrust and suspicion and this feeling of a big brother is based on him. He always knows what's happening. Every time you think you're smarter than him, he shows you that, no, I'm the daddy. All right?
I am the state.
Yes.
The state is me.
So, like, every single time that would happen, but it succeeded so much that he underestimated his own campaign of terror against his subordinates.
Yeah.
So when he went into seclusion, and the subordinate generals came to him, he was kind of like, he thought they thought like him, and he was like, well, I guess you're here to do me in. And they were like, no, we're here to find out what next.
Yeah, we're terrified.
And then he was like, oh. And it completely transformed his mind, and he like completely got his confidence back because he realized you haven't lost. You haven't lost the war, and you haven't lost these people. You haven't lost, I mean, you might have lost some of your people, sure.
On purpose.
Yeah, but like you haven't fear is more potent.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
his reputation preceded him, definitely.
Yeah, I'm really amazed that he was so larger than life, and that the country just didn't go insane after he was dead. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's because he was larger than life.
Yeah.
He didn't die.
Yeah.
And they were able to use all of that to bind themselves together.
Yeah.
A shared experience.
Yeah.
There's this there's this Bob Dylan line from this crazy song called Brownsville Girlie he has, and it always stuck in my mind. He says, "Strange how people who suffer together have stronger connections than people who are most content."
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I think, a lot of that ties into these last words.
Right.
Where it's like, there's something about seeing someone on their deathbed and then they say their last words, and what a powerful connection that binds you to them with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they don't have time to bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen all that stuff about the hospice nurses when they talk about, let me tell you what I hear all the time from these dying people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always like, I wish I spent more time with my kids. I wish I worked less.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I told people I loved them, that I do love. It's all of this regret about the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much to learn from that.
Yeah.
This is something I find extremely
Heavy.
It is. And
But heavy is good.
I am. I'm not sorry. I think this is important stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
This is a very important thing, I think. Wendy O. Williams was a famous punk rocker woman.
Yeah.
She tried to kill herself one time in the early 90s by hammering a knife into her chest.
Jesus Christ.
Not even stabbing.
Hammering it in. And
Two tools.
It was in the sternum, and then she decided against it and had somebody take her to the hospital. And then she later was going to kill herself again. And she writes this very, very clear-minded suicide note that fascinates the shit out of me, and I can't really help but agree with.
Yeah.
And she says, I don't believe that people should take their own lives without deep and thoughtful reflection over a considerable period of time. I do believe strongly, however, that the right to do so is one of the most fundamental rights that anyone in a free society should have. For me, much of the world makes no sense, but my feelings about what I am doing ring loud and clear to an inner ear and a place where there is no self, only calm.
In a place where there is no self, only calm.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
It's just like, it's so...
I'm doing this now.
It's so like, listen...
Not all of us who do it are crazy or broken.
But also, there's too much shame about this.
Yeah, with the rights of man.
Yeah, why do we? I just feel like there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm ready to see what's next. You know, or
I'm done with this. I mean, that's
done with this.
The whole thing about Kevorkian, where he didn't go to people and said. He didn't go out of his way and say, I'll help you kill yourself. People went to him and they said, I am tired of living.
Right.
How can I die?
Suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he helped them die.
Yes, I did have a relative that was dying of a very painful disease, and during that time he was Kevorkian was not yet imprisoned. And my family all became very, very, and they're very Catholic too, but they became very much big fans of Kevorkian and thought this is so outdated that we don't allow euthanasia because there's some appalling ways to die.
Yeah. And, there's a business, there's an entire industry of keeping people alive for really just to milk money out of them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When you're in old age and you're on Medicare or whatever, the state can just keep you alive and just milk you for those bills, and
right.
Under the guise of morality.
Well,
right.
The hospital will do it because they can charge the state.
Oh yeah, and we all know. I mean, the bills, the hospital bills are crazy. Just for aspirin and shit. So they don't give a shit.
My grandfather had stomach cancer, and he was
that's fucking bad.
He had to take basically what they were chemo pills, and he was taking one when I went to see him, and he was saying, "You see this pill?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I don't pay a dime for it because of my pension with the city." He was a bus driver for 20 years in the city. And he's like, this is $100 per pill. And this is the kind of thing that turns people against union people instead of the guy with the drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of
it makes them be like, why can he... What? Instead of being like, why is the drug that much money?
Yeah, Martin Shkreli, that's why.
Yeah. It's so On the same kind of Wendy O. Williams tip, I want to talk about one of our favorite suicide notes ever, Aaron.
Yes.
Actor George Sanders, his suicide note was as follows. Dear world, I am leaving you because I am bored. Good luck.
The condescension, that condescension really speaks to me. Good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that.
I'm moving. Party's over because I'm leaving. Enjoy it without me. I love that so much.
It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Every part of that, though. Dear world.
Yeah.
I have the authority to address the world.
Yes.
2, I'm bored with what? Everything.
Yeah.
And 3, good luck.
Right.
Good luck with that. See ya.
Yeah, if that was me, I would write that down, laugh for an hour.
Maybe find a will to live. Hey, world's not so bad. I'm in it. Writing hilarious shit like this.
Yeah.
I got 2 more notes in me.
Hey, man, if it's sad I can only kill myself once. Like that Wendy O. Williams thing makes me think of Camus. Camus, like one of his famous lines was that the only real philosophical question is whether to kill yourself or not.
Right.
And it's the only thing that you are totally in control of. I mean, unless you're in prison or something, but like for the vast majority of your life,
right,
it's really the only question whether or not to kill yourself. And hey, if you're gonna do it, more power to you.
Do it without killing anyone else.
Yeah,
first.
don't do it. Don't do it by cop. Don't do it at a school or a church. You fucking maniacs.
Yeah,
life hack.
Right. Yeah. The Charles Whitman thing, the guy that went up on the tower in Texas.
Yeah.
He goes. He did I talk about this in the show before when he went to the shrink?
No.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but it's probably worth repeating.
Charles Whitman was this blonde all-American boy in Texas, and he was a former Marine, I think. And he goes to a shrink, and he says, listen, man, I just got this uncontrollable urge to go out and kill as many people as I can. And the shrink's like, just relax.
Yeah.
Smoke a cigarette.
And there's this very, crazy, like, there's a photograph of him just, like, napping on a couch, like, a couple of days before he goes out with his, many guns as he can, and he gets his way. He creates like a long barricade up the staircase of the tower, and it was one of the first famous mass murder things in the country. And he just started picking off college students at random, as many as he could,
from a clock tower.
And
Marty,
save the clock tower. He goes in the first before he goes there. Eventually, the cops beat their way up there. They shoot the shit out of him. Before he did that, he went over to his parents and killed them so they wouldn't be embarrassed.
Awful.
Which is like, I think they'll live with it, literally.
Yeah. Kill yourself first.
Yeah.
Then they can be embarrassed about that.
Yeah,
right.
But
he did write. He wrote a note. He told the shrink.
Yes, no, he wrote in his note before he went over to the folks' house. He wrote in the note, "When I'm dead, open me up because something is wrong with me." And they did, and he had a fucking brain tumor.
Yeah, you know what Junior Seau did? He shot himself in the chest
with a shotgun,
so they could examine his brain.
Yeah,
he didn't fucking take anyone else out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I was like,
Junior Seau, famous linebacker for San Diego Chargers,
yeah,
Hall of Famer,
brain injuries, and
CTE.
Hall of Famer. Yeah.
But like, if you, how bad is embarrassment? You know what I mean?
Probably not as bad as a shotgun to the mouth.
Right. Yeah. Or is embarrassment worse than the last thing you see, your son strangling you?
Right. Thank God I'm not bit. Thank God the neighbors can't see this.
Please don't embarrass me.
We raised such a good, thoughtful.
Dad, hold on.
Suck our cocks.
Don't you think embarrassment is so much worse than your final moments spent with your offspring just choking the life out of you?
I know. Jesus Christ.
I could take some embarrassment.
Yeah.
I'll take the embarrassment.
And I think I would also be kind of embarrassed. Like, oh, fucking kid.
Yeah, you go up to the afterlife and your face is red the whole time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Elliot Rodgers' dad is doing pretty fine by now.
Yeah, he's not embarrassed at all. That's the problem.
Yeah, he loves that his kid's dead. He got like 20 minutes on Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
Elliot was always jealous of how I looked. But good thing I'm not embarrassed.
He was a weird kid.
Yeah, he was not embarrassed.
Don't be weird.
Right. That was that was pure lack of embarrassment, him going on that show.
Yeah, if you're embarrassed, you don't go to fucking national television with fucking Barbara Walters.
I mean, I would just be like, I think I would spend the rest of my life shaking my head being like, I don't know what the fuck I did there.
Yeah. Well, I think he does know.
Right, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it easier to get over.
Yeah. Well, I knew it.
Yeah.
I was right. Pats himself on the back.
Right, he couldn't hang.
Yeah.
It's probably the philosophy for real.
Pussy-ass kid.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this is another thing I want to drop real quick, but that kind of philosophy of like, you couldn't hang is like one of the scariest things in the world to me. There's a great HBO documentary about the bloggers that out closeted gay congressmen, and there's one guy who was going to be outed by fucking Larry Flint from Hustler. And Hustler came to him and they're like, listen, we're going to out the shit out of you. And he basically started telling people, I'm going to do it myself before they can. And he was like, the other closeted gay dudes that were in government with me were like, you're not tough enough. You can't hang. Like, you need to deny that shit. Like, you're being a fucking pussy.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You ain't no ride or die gay.
Right. Like, huh?
We're in the closet together, bro.
Yeah, like, what is there to be proud of about?
Nut in, nut out.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's a weird game theory when it comes to that whole, that secret keeping stuff with them.
Yeah.
But they, then they get outed and then they completely reverse all of their political stances anyway. So I think in the long run,
well, they do, because
although morally dubious, maybe it's probably
well, that was the thing, is that
better for everybody.
When I was going to watch the documentary, I thought, this is fucking mean. You can't out these people, like, even if they're fucked up. Like, but then you see, like, when you see how the voting stuff, like, because these guys would be voting against AIDS funding.
Yeah.
They would be voting against anything remotely touching gay issues in like a really mean way. And then after, when they realize, oh, that was silly.
Yeah, you almost see like the burden
life.
lifted off of their face. That you see that they get in their face. They're like, I don't have to lie anymore.
Well, because they hate themselves. And then the moment they can be honest and people are like, well, you're not a bad person for being gay, they're like, oh, I shouldn't hate myself anymore. I mean, the difference is like a guy like Barney Frank from Massachusetts, who they said, Barney, we're going to fucking out you for sleeping with this dude.
These hookers.
And he was like, okay, well, I'm a gay guy.
Yeah.
And then he came out and he was a fucking badass congressman for years.
Right.
And he didn't take any shit anymore.
Yeah.
But there's guys like this guy Dennis Hastert who was like, he was trying to fuck his like wrestling, the kids on the wrestling team, and voting against all these bills, an anti-gay congressman, and then it comes out and now he's going to jail for it. Where it's just like,
right.
Don't hate yourself. Don't take these policies and use it to harm other people.
Yeah, and I think there's like kind of a thing where you almost become addicted to the shame and you want to make it worse. Yeah. So there's like a whole thing of like, well, why don't I also do meth while I fuck guys?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm pot committed at this point.
Yeah.
I'm a bad boy.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe videotape it.
Yeah. What if they were really young?
Just pile it on.
Yeah, I mean, you might like. I think that's really kind of a thing that happens. Is like, why don't I just be like the most like, oh God, what am you know?
Yeah. How much worse can I make it?
Right. This took a crazy turn from last words, but
last words to gay meth.
Gay meth congressman?
Yeah, cool. We're riffing here.
I think, I wanted to get into the other stuff, but I think we'll have to save that for another episode.
Let's save it for another episode. We went all around the world here.
Yeah. We did. I actually would like to bring this back, and I would like to ask listeners to send me, if you have a favorite epitaph even.
Yeah.
I love epitaphs too. Didn't even touch that today. Mm-hmm. There's so many good epitaphs. Mm-hmm.
Suicide Notes. I love. I really love last words. I find them endlessly fascinating and beautiful. So please, guys, try it out. Please try it out
and join us on March 31st
at the Hollywood Hotel.
Yes, that's a Saturday.
We'll be doing a very special live episode of this very podcast.
That is exactly right, Aaron.
John will be there. Matt will be there. I'll be there.
Yeah. Yep. Network daddy Adam Todd Brown will be there.
The daddy of the network?
You bet.
Oh my God.
Yes.
The network is him. He is the network.
Yes, and if you'd like to try it out, you can try it out.
Yes. And, if you've got any swag or fan art, bring it along.
Yes.
Maybe we'll bring the teak shirts.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for, like, the Leonard Cohen version of Steel Reserve High Gravity Lager.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Somebody's doing a Leonard Cohen version?
No.
It's just a wish list.
It's a request.
Yeah.
I want to hear that really bad. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
High Gravity Lager.
Steel Reserve.
We love you, everybody. I'm John Fahey.
I'm Aaron Pita.
I'm Matt Brousseau.
Arrivederci.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Tschüss.